For us to close the book on this, it's just a tiny little thought, and right now it seems like even tinier by the fact that I only have one line type to consider. But I want you to communicate using the same language of lines. When you're developing a transitional, I'll call this like a technical diagram, you should still be using the same line work types that you had in the original diagram. So when I go back here, if I'm going to show the flow of air through the space, I'm going to do that using this line type. So I can copy and paste that line type here. I'll probably want to make it way thicker than it was in the other page. Like a 10. And change the stroke to something that's actually going to read. So maybe 36. Oh, it's not going to let me rotate it, huh? We'll do this. So, really what this is meant to do, I don't know how straight that is. What this is meant to do is to communicate that wind is going to enter into the space the way that we defined it in the previous design. Sorry, in the previous diagram. All right. So now you don't necessarily have to do that throughout the entire diagram or the entire section. Oh, look at that. We gotta fix that. But you should do it enough times that it becomes convincing that one can understand and be convinced that it actually is working. So usually I'll just do this like once or twice. Something like that. Okay, so this shows that wind can enter into my space and flow through. The other one, and guys, I'm not making this super eloquent by any means here. It's really very, very basic. I'll expect more exploration from everyone. But the other one really is to just show the sun angle being blocked. So I'll make this a 10. I'll change that spacing as well. And so because it's because this one is actually in a funny angle, you might have to do some kind of, ray tracing to figure out how far in the sun's going to go. In fact, I already have it here with the shadow. I'm going to pretend that I actually calculated the shadow to be that. So I'll start it here, and I'll go to here. Yeah. And then on till morning. It's not letting me rotate it that way. Hold on. There we go. One more. All right. So this, oh, that's not even correct. Hold on. I have it at the wrong spot. It needs to be, from the shadow edge to the slab. The slab edge. There you go. Okay, so now this is getting to a point where I'm actually communicating using the same language from my diagram. So if I was to put this next to the diagram itself, it would make a lot more sense. In fact, the yellow probably wouldn't work for me. I'd probably want to switch this to red. I don't know if it'll let me do it this way. Let's try. Yeah, there you go. So I'd probably want to switch that to red or something so that it communicates with the overall color scheme. Something like that. Okay? Um, so that said, this is the result that we'll need to get to. And just so you guys know, for those of you who weren't paying attention, I actually re-exported to make this a lot bigger than the one previously. So now it kind of matches up on the corner. Thoughts, questions, concerns? Now, of course, when you have this kind of diagram overlaid on your drawing, you're going to have some text that goes along with it, probably. For something like this, because it's semi-technical and it's semi-illustrative, I'll say you're not going to have like a full-on write-up on what system is happening, but you might just kind of call it out as passive cooling and sun angle, something like that. All right, so if there are no questions, then you have, right now, you have 2 assignments that are due on Tuesday. You have to first come up with your diagram, seen here, something like this. I would suggest, if you have a hard time working on it on the computer, maybe just sketch for a while. Take 20, 30 minutes and just sketch out a couple of diagram ideas. It's a lot easier to take a big fat marker and start, drawing lines across the page than it is to do it in the software. Whew, that's a stinky marker. Wow. And then your other assignment is to complete this. Okay.